Hello, Alberta Parkland District. I'm standing here in the town of Erskine, outside of the Erskine Evangelical Free Church, and I'd like to invite you to join me here at the end of October for our district conference. And one of the things I've been asked is, how is this going to work with the conference being held in this church in a little hamlet with no accommodations? Where are we going to stay for night, and how will that work out? Well, instead of telling you, I'd like to show you. So join me for a little ride as I talk a little bit more about the conference. As we leave the church, we drive about a block down through the main street of Erskine. We get to Highway 12 and turn east, and we're on our way to Stettler. Our annual district conference is our opportunity as a district to be all together. I really do invite you. It doesn't matter if you're a pastor, a pastor's wife, a delegate, or just a member of any one of our churches. You're all invited to come. You don't have to be a delegate to attend. The possibilities of us being together, if we can all be together, are endless. One of the big things that happens at conferences, we leave those of us who are there with a great amount of encouragement. It's so encouraging to be together. It's so encouraging to see what God is doing in other churches. It's so encouraging just to realize that each one of us are part of a much bigger group of people working together. We learn from one another when we're at conference. We do have learning opportunities in keynote sessions, but even just in the coffee breaks and casual conversations, we learn from one another, and that's so important. We get to hear from God, and we get to build up together the courage to continue in our ministries. This year, I have invited 2 professors from Prairie Bible College in Three Hills to be our keynote speakers. Professor Kelly Steffen is the professor of pastoral studies at Three Hills, and Dr. Tyron Laws is was the professor of New Testament, but he's moved on now, and so he's no longer at Three Hills. But he'll be coming to our conference, and what I've asked them to do is I've asked them to give us relatively short Bible primers, good biblical teaching, and then we're going to spend a large part of our keynote sessions talking with one another in terms of how are we going to apply these biblical truths in our churches, at home, and together in the Alberta Parkland District. I'm really excited to find out how God's going to teach us and how we're going to learn together and put into practice what we're learning as we fellowship together. Of course, there's going to be good food and fellowship throughout the conference. We have a banquet on Friday night this time instead of Saturday. And throughout the day, we've scheduled adequate time for breaks, for coffee, for casual conversation. And that's always a highlight for me at conferences, to mill around among all of you and talk and catch up on how things are going. We will also be having the business meetings for the Alberta Parkland District. It's very important that we get together once a year, set a budget, hear reports, and do the business of our district. And one of the things that I'd really encourage you to do this year is when you've registered as a delegate and you get your conference package, read through that and jot down some notes before you get to conference. I'd really love to hear more discussion during business sessions. When our different board members stand up and give their report and we ask, are there any questions? We really do want your questions. We do want a conversation with you about how we're doing as leaders and what we could do better and what we've maybe missed. And of course, if you want to give us some encouragement, that'd be great too. But I encourage you to stand up in those meetings and ask some questions. That would be excellent if we could have some discussion around the issues in the reports. As we approach Stettler now, I'd like to close with an invitation to you. If you've watched this video, go down in the comments below and write in what is one of your memories from a previous conference. What is one of your best memories? I'll start by sharing one of mine. I remember the conference at Beach Corner, the year we were in Beach Corner. During one of the breaks, I began to have a discussion with Pastor Mark Broadway, who is now the pastor at the Erskine Church, where we are at conference this year, and Bill Taylor, our executive director. The three of us were talking in the coffee break, and as the session started, we stayed in the foyer and had an animated discussion throughout the whole session. We were talking about different ways in which to do church or adjust things in our church practices to be more inviting to people who don't come to church. We had disagreement, we had agreement, we had a robust discussion. And I know from discussions I've had with both of Mark and Bill since then, that discussion has affected each one of us in terms of how we've continued in our roles, our different ministry roles since that day. It's had a lasting impact. In fact, now as district superintendent, I'm still seeking and trying to put into practice some of the things that came out of that discussion. So there's very good things that can happen as we meet together. Some of it is planned in the session, some of it is unplanned in the coffee breaks. So share one of your memories from district conference in the comments below. And here we are arriving at the hotel exactly 8 minutes after we left Erskine. We would have been a little bit quicker if it hadn't been for that truck in front of me and that red light. Don't forget to register. Go to albertaparklanddistrict.ca and register for conference. I'll be happy to see you there.